Sup team, how we going? First off, I just want to say a huge thank you to all you out there for supporting this Assorted Kiwi podcast. Life is assorted, taste is assorted, our minds are assorted, and our stories are assorted. The Assorted Kiwi podcast is where Kiwis can share their assorted perspectives, ideas, and dreams. Assorted is all about Kiwis connecting through what is important to them. Every idea is important to who you are. Some may miss, but the best ideas are the ones that challenge ways of thinking and also emotionally connect people to one another. This is the definition of the Assorted Kiwi.
Yo, how we going, guys? Thanks so much for tuning in to this is, and you probably tell by my voice, the first Assorted Kiwi show.
Hey, let's go.
And it's cool to do this, and it's even better to do this with someone who's doing some awesome stuff. And before I introduce my guest, I got to know this fella probably it was probably after the second lockdown.
Yeah.
Just making some waves, you know, like not just like in terms of like energy, but just waves in terms of what he was doing, the output, and the people he was surrounding with, and it was just amazing to see. I mean, by the end of the year, I was just like, whoa, this is dope. When if I ever have a show, I want to link up with this fella and understand what got him to this point. And Steve, you've listened to my voice for the last 2 minutes. I'm gonna hand over Chequered Patterns. What's up, bro?
Too kind. My name's Seb. I go by the name of Chequered Patterns. It started as a bit of a piss take with me and my mates at high school. We were laying out like judo mats to do judo, and there were green and blue mats, and we laid them out in a checkered patterns shape, and we just started joking around like checkered patterns, and then we like just implemented like money ideas into the name to make it as SoundCloud as possible, and then it was just like a joke of like a funny rap name, and I ended up going by it, and I produced a song that hit 100k views, so I was like, well, I gotta keep the name now. I can't change it.
Damn, what song was that?
So it's called Chasing the Bag with E-Man's One and Wild Kid, who are also quite big in Auckland right now. So they've just dropped a song called Check Us, and they even reference my name in the hook. Yeah. But they've been in the game for like, or E-Man's at least has been in it for like 6-7 years.
Man.
Yeah.
That's dope, bro. So like, I was gonna ask you, Chequered Patterns, where did it all start? But like, you've given me the name, that is dope. But when did it actually start for you? When did you start making music, man? Like,
yeah, it's always been quite hard to share for me because it started as a bit of a mental health journey. Like when I was quite young, I struggled with depression, and music definitely got me through it. So I just started writing my own rap songs and just outletting my emotions, and it was so therapeutic. And eventually I got to a point where I was like, I like writing, but I don't like rapping in front of people. So I started producing, and at first I picked it up and I was like, this is too hard, I'm not gonna do it, so I gave up. And then my friend Christabel, who I was mates with since I was like 13, she paid thousands to go to a studio and record her first album, and the results were good, but she hated it because it wasn't true to what she had in her head. It was what the producers wanted. So I made it my mission to go out and produce people for what they have in their head, not what I have in my head. So I just started listening to songs, breaking down each single instrument in my head, and then tried making it on my computer. And I did it all throughout high school on my lunch breaks when I was bored, on the down low. And then I got better and better, watched a million YouTube tutorials. And then eventually, like, the way I learnt spanned out to bigger outlets. Like, I went to the New Zealand Producer Series in 2020, where I learnt from like Simon Gooding, P Money. So Simon Gooding produced for Pink, And then there's like Rory Noble, who's got samples that Kanye used.
Yeah.
Just
the list goes on. And then mentioning P Money, like that's the elder statesman of the game.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and from a hip hop perspective, and you know, not afraid to show my age, like being 30. And my hip hop journey started when I was 13. Around that same time of like 50 Cent Get Rich Die Trying.
Yeah.
That was probably like the first, and what an album to like start off with. You couldn't miss it.
Yeah, hard.
Right?
Yeah.
But around the time that was like that era of New Zealand hip hop. So you had the P Money, Big Things, and then you got Scribe, The Crusader, Mariko, White Sunday, Nesian Mystic, Saturated. Like those are like upper echelon type albums.
Yeah.
So it's just dope to see what nearly 20 years on.
Yeah.
Like how far NZ hip hop's come. And like you're part of that wave, right? Like you're mentioning some dope peeps.
On that note, have you watched the Dawn Raid movie?
Bro, I have.
So good, Good. Oh like, man, I cried. I cried at the end. I was like, this means so much to me.
It's at the time, man, like there was a lot to digest. I don't know if you felt the same way. Because there was you watching as a fan.
Yeah.
And there's stuff that you don't necessarily see. Like you don't. Man, I'm not sure if you remember like Major Flavor's CDs. Well, back in the day when you bought from it the CDs, when CDs were the thing to do.
Yeah.
Severe had like a DVD at the back, and that would be him going over to New York.
Yeah.
And it was quite similar to when like Andy went over.
Yeah.
To do his stuff, but it's just cool to see that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's inspiring because there's so many gems, whether it's small business, if you're like an entrepreneur that doesn't even listen to hip hop or music, you can watch that and say, yo, I can work at a market.
Yeah, the Otara flea markets, sell funny t-shirts and then blow up.
Yeah, and I think that's like, if you had a parallel to what you're up to, and we'll get to the rest of energy and the people around you as well, because it's really it's important to showcase. Yeah, and that's what we want to do on this platform. It's just, you know, quite often when people get interviewed, it's this tall poppy sort of vibe. Yeah, hard. And afraid to mention someone because they might get notoriety, but from our interactions, that's not the vibe. Yeah, yeah. But I just want to go back to how you started making songs and how you. So, what artists were you trying to emulate in terms of your style? Yeah. So I am an old school hip hop head. Like I like my B.I.G., MF Doom. I like my old school stuff, and I like the word craftiness of it. I don't know how to explain it. Like wordsmith. Yeah, the word. Yeah. Yeah. I just think it's insane. There's so many elements to like rap lyrics that other music doesn't have in their lyrics. Like you got the punchlines, the flow, the cadence. Well, that's kind of flow, but there's just like all these different elements to it, and you really are like a poet when you rap. So that really inspired me. So I tried making boom bap beats, and then I just realized, damn, there's such a huge market for trap beats. I got to get on that wave. Yeah. So I did that. And that's where I got my first placements. And then I was like, I want to be able to produce everything. Like, I want to hear a song and I want to be able to make it. And you can tell that from your output, bro. Like, and if, you know, a plug, if you haven't checked out, you know, your stuff to the audience, like, well, if the audience hasn't checked out your stuff, go to Spotify, Chequered Patterns. Don't forget the $signs as well. And there's a playlist. And that is a good starter just to show the range, man. And that's kind of, even from the influence of boom bap rap versus trap, they're two distinctive styles. And I'm sure you're a fan of hip hop and music in general. Where 20 years ago, it was a particular sound. I mean, as hip hop becomes bigger, there's more influences. So I mean, nowadays you've got drill, and that's a derivative of grime. Yeah. And then so much more music. And then if you look at Christabel's 3-track.
Yeah.
Like, you got Vanilla, which is it's just dope.
Thank you.
I can't explain it. It started off with Mullet.
Yeah.
Mullet was just meant a video and everything, and just a
Yeah.
But like for me, Vanilla is awesome because of the message, and it isn't just rapping for rapping's sake or music. The songs, and I think that's a difference from a producer.
Yeah.
Like, you can be a good beat maker, and I like you to talk about the difference and where you sit in the beat maker or songwriter, like, or producer standpoint, because they are two distinctly different things.
Yeah, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes of music that just no one sees, and it's been really cool learning that all along the way. So I guess the beat maker is the person that makes the instrumental from the start and then gives it to the artist. I'd compare that to a producer, with a producer being someone that can make something with the artist at the same time and can replicate their ideas. And then you've got the mixing and the mastering. And like, as producing technology improves, the two have sort of blended together. So mixing is, you get all your sounds to sound clean next to each other. So like, if you got drums and guitar and vocals, you want the vocals to be the loudest, then the drums, then the guitar. So that's your mixing. And then your mastering is, you got to get it up to a loud enough volume so that it doesn't sound different to other songs. So like, you don't play it next to Sicko Mode and that's way louder. And Sicko Mode's actually one of the loudest songs out right now in terms of sonics. So yeah, and it's also been interesting in the new digital era, because Spotify there was a bit of a thing called the loudness war going on. So people were competing to have the loudest songs, and of course the dubstep songs always got it because they just squashed their sounds. So Spotify started turning everyone's sounds down to what's called -14 LUFS. So what I've been learning is the Spotify algorithm for how they turn down music, and how I can make my music get as loud as possible with that in mind.
Because you have to take into account not only mixing it for your own purposes, whether you're giving it to a DJ or whatever and they're spinning it on their radio, but then you're combating a digital world. And you want to make sure that when you've got your playlist, whatever playlists are popping, whether it's Rap Radar, not Rap Radar, Caviar, you know? And you can tell when you play that, like, the loudness of different tunes. And then maybe that's the impact. If that mix isn't being taken into account, you cutting through beyond another artist. You know, because
and
the loudness right?
And the whole idea behind it is, the louder your song, the better it sounds, because it's got more energy if it's louder. So
that's interesting. So it's pretty clear that you sit on the producer realm rather than a beat maker. It's clear, man, from like your output and your experience from songwriting. I'd
say I did start out as a beat maker. For the first like 2 to 3 years, I'd just make beats in my room or at school, and that's how I started out. And then during lockdown, I built this room and started recording people, and man, like, every week I was a better producer. So like, I'd go back and listen to old songs I did, and I'd be like, oh, now I need to change this, I need to do this. So it's definitely a very quick learning process, and it's rough listening back to your old music, because you always pick out things that you don't like. So
do you find the last 12 months has been probably the nucleus of your extension to the work that you are doing now?
So, well, I was doing quite well in my own sort of realm, but it was really closed in, like, I wasn't expanding out to much people. So then I built my like home studio and I recorded 50 plus artists. So I know about 200 artists in New Zealand. So it's super good to network with everyone, and I love what everyone's doing, and I want to see New Zealand music hit a stage where it can be compared to American music, because you talk to random Kiwis in the street, and they don't listen to New Zealand music. They just listen to stuff from overseas.
And the fact that we've got, it's not just what you hear on the radio. Like, it isn't just, like, you got to give credit to where credit's due for the ones who have been there for a long period of time.
Yeah.
But now that the path to recording or accessible, not only is it easy for people to hear tunes, but it's so much easier for people to make beats or record.
Yeah.
So it's all relevant. It kind of, as one goes up, the other one goes up as well. So it becomes a bit harder for you to cut through.
Yeah.
But then it's a positive because there's so much talent now.
And the lucky thing with New Zealand is the industry is quite tight. So last year I sort of decided, you know what, I need to talk to industry people. Like, I need to get my name known. So I just started looking for random opportunities. I literally searched up NZ music on Google, and I signed up for everything I could find. So then I've been working with NZ Musician, which is a magazine, and they've been helping me post my stuff. New Zealand On Air, I've been looking at getting funding from them, and that's been really promising. And even, like, I didn't get it my first round, as expected, being my first round, but they even gave me a call and just, like, helped me out and gave me suggestions on what to do next time.
Awesome.
So it's really wholesome, the music community in New Zealand as well, when you're not involved with labels.
If you're independent, and you would like to stay independent for a long time, right? But still have the benefit of dealing with artists that you haven't networked with. Yeah,
I guess it depends on the deal as well, but I'm quite cautious around that.
And I think that's, like, I'm sure you've watched countless hip-hop interviews or listened to albums where they're, they're not just talking about the flashy stuff, they're just talking about this business stuff. And, we're lucky enough to be 30 years post the Jays, or even now, Russ, Nipsey, R.I.P.
Oh, I watch Russ so much.
And Russ is like, it's the do-it-your-own-way sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The DIY pioneer, which it's in our DNA. A slight plug to a retailer there, New Zealand retailer. But if you think about it, then we're so, inquisitive and curious in terms of what we do. Like, amazing.
And I never really listened to Russ much, but then I just started watching YouTube videos of how he made it, and man, he had it all figured out. He just released a song every day for a week. He had 12 albums worth of music. Then he got signed and did one album, but he chose to keep his rights, and it meant everyone was pushed to his music by the label, and then they went and listened to his old music, and he got 100% of the profits from that. And then he said bye-bye to the label and did it on his own. So he definitely played the game. And I guess I'm sort of playing the game in my own way, because I want New Zealand music to be big, and I just want to grow a New Zealand audience. And instead of getting more people to listen to my music, I just want more people to listen to New Zealand music in general, because then it will just get a huge ecosystem going and just
it helps the scene
flowing.
It helps the scene, and it's the whole thing of, like, collaboration, right? It's you can only, in probably parallel to you started noticing changes once you start letting people into your world. But like myself, like, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who like the Russ effect. When we post it up, maybe 5 people will watch it. Or maybe it'll, once there's enough.
Hey, shout out to those 5 people.
And that's good, because it's not about the numbers, it's about the product. Because to that point of Russ, it's like he released 10 albums. And then the Lucy's, and then half those Lucy's that popped, like What You Want, made There Really Is a Wolf. So man, I wish I brought the Russ album here. I've got it on vinyl. And,
sick.
I wish I brought it.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking what your favourite album is, bro, because
I
wanted to show it, because the packaging is just, it's inspiring. But Russ is an interesting one to talk about to his next transition of, because he's like a triple quadruple threat in a way, because he writes his stuff, he masters, engineers, and he gives prominence to those traits.
Yeah.
And I would like to ask, who from any genre, like, what are your top 5 producers? Like, what are the ones that you respect the most?
Well, I gotta say, like, damn, Timbaland, no doubt, because he's just the GOAT. Everyone knows that. He's, like, and for people that don't know, like, his workflow, he'll just beatbox an idea and then go make it. And that's exactly how I work. But I get the artist to beatbox me their idea, and then I go make it. So, he's changed my production. And I was actually emulating his workflow when I made the Mullet song. So it was actually my girlfriend chilling in this room. She was bored as hell of me making beats. So I was like, okay, speak into the mic for 2 minutes and I'll sample you. So she said, suck on my mullet. And I just sampled it. And it's her beatboxing in the background. And I was like, this is one of the best beats I've ever made.
It's fire.
And then Christabel wanted to sing on it. And I was like, hey, like this beat? Are you sure?
It's a wavy one, that one.
Yeah.
It's dope. Like, and I think, like, I see, like, I don't know if I said top 5 or not, but you said Timbo first.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear from me outside looking in, based on the range of people that you produce for. Again, check the Spotify playlist, because it's not just rap. It's not just, it's singing, it's a range of things that, if you look at Timbo, it's, he had Missy, and then Aaliyah, and then JT, and then he's got Jay-Z, and the list goes on. And another one, and I think it might just be Virginia Beach, right? It's like Pharrell.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of parallels between him and Timbo.
Oh, yeah. Pharrell's just crazy.
In terms of the range of people that he produces for, and to your point before, you don't want to be able to just produce one sound, because if that sound gets
ripped off.
Trends go up and down.
Yeah.
I don't know how long the drill is going to go for, but drill was the new trap.
Yeah.
I guess it's interesting.
I'm also interested to watch Josh 685's journey, because he came out with that siren beat, and every song he's doing is a siren beat. So I'll be interested to see if he branches out or if he keeps doing that. But nonetheless, it's cool to see what's going on there as well.
And like, in terms of, you said before, just trying to like remember exactly what you said verbatim, particularly about, it's not about you growing as an individual, it's about you contributing to the scene at large. And you know, who do you think New Zealand artists that you look up to who have contributed to the scene to date, that are like kind of the pioneers?
Oh man, like the first person I gotta say is Scribe. Like, he comes out with a song and the lyrics, New Zealand hip hop, stand the fuck up. Like, that's my anthem, eh? Like, that's the coolest thing ever. And that's hard. I used to listen to a bit of Savage and whatnot. P Money is just the GOAT of New Zealand. Like, he's insane, and he's like such a good dude as well. Like, a lot of the techniques I use now are from him, so shout out to P Money.
And you had the opportunity to meet him as well, right?
Yeah. So I met him at the Roundhead Studios New Zealand producer series, and he showed us how the Not Many remix was made, and I was just like in shock, eh?
And it's cool because it's like documented in your brain, because the visual, like, you know, you just remember, you remember things because you're so heightened, and you might be like, I know if I was in those situations, like, I'll be like, oh my god. Yeah. But like, you take it all in, because the brain still acts as a sponge, so you can pull on that at any time. Yeah. That's amazing.
And the most gratifying part of it was I watched all these international producers from New Zealand show me their techniques, and it was all the same stuff me and my group were doing already. Like, they're just using the exact same plugins, the exact same software, like the exact same techniques. So I was just like, I'm doing it right. I just got to keep going.
It's kind of that, you know, like gratitude, pun intended, in terms of P Money album, but also validation in terms of like all the hard work you've done up to that date, right? You know, me and my bro, like, Should Be Sweet. He's a rapper too, but it's like...
Oh yeah, I know the name, yeah.
So he's, you know, similar vibe to yourself of, I strongly believe the energy post-lockdown for creative people hasn't really begun to show yet, like the results.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a delayed effect,
It's a bit of a delayed effect, and I think that's kind of, again, another segue to what happened probably November, December last year, and that's when I really did take notice, because I don't know how, I think it was Indie Skies, her, it's like Queen Herbie mint cover.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, again, if you don't know that song, it's interesting because I think it came, I don't know if she picked it because she watched this Shane Dawson, Jeffree Star doco that my girlfriend watches. I was like, I got a fan of that song because of it.
Yeah.
And then I heard her cover it, and I was like, holy, and that just opened me up to yourself, her, and everything else in terms of that period of releases. And maybe just have a chance to you just to talk about which release came first and maybe how you met a lot of these artists, like in that time period. Like,
ooh, that's a long story.
try and do that. Try and picture we're in like a 100-floor elevator. I'm gonna get out.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so, man, I may as well tell the whole story. So it started out with me making beats. I'd say like the 10th beat I ever made ended up being Chasing the Bag. So what had happened was Christabel was in a band, and I went along to film her playing music because I was like, I'll just do it for my friend. And then there were a bunch of rappers there, including E-Mans, and I was just like, oh, I've just started making beats, like, hit me up if you want any. Yeah. So he hit me up, and I just sent him a beat, and he's like, nah, that's not the one, send me another. Send him another, and he's like, cool. And then I didn't hear anything back. Then I saw it on YouTube, and within weeks it had 100,000 views, and I was just like, where did that come from? Yeah. So there was that. Then I met a dude called Raxmain over the internet, and we worked for about a year over the internet before we met each other, and we finally had a session last year. I found out he lives like 10 minutes away. Wow. So one of those crazy New Zealand moments.
Those degrees of separation.
Yeah. Yeah. So they were like the two main ones from the get-go. And then Christabel, I never actually did much with her, like, because she was looking for a different sort of sound, and you know, everyone was like, oh, he's a hip-hop producer. But then she was going to move to the UK, and then COVID hit. And I was like, let's just record something, see how it goes. And we recorded so much trash. It's insane. Yeah. I've got like a year's worth of songs that we made and we hated. Yeah. And then December, we were like, cool, I got the studio set up, I got the good mic, I've got the skills, let's do it. Yeah. And so it's been a long time in planning. And then I set up the studio. I follow every New Zealand musician I can on Instagram, and like they just come through, and it's more like they pay me out of goodwill, just so I could quit my job, which I have now, so I can do music full time. So I charge $30 an hour and then 25% royalties. Yeah. And that just helps me with my longevity. Yeah. If a song blows up, and then
and the prolificness of, and I'm just amazed. And yeah, you did a lot of those hundreds of trash songs to get to the Vanilla 3-track. Yeah, which is interesting too. And Indies Reborn, and so many. Yeah. Again, look at the playlist.
I got two laptops worth of beats. Yeah. This is my second laptop, and it's just full. I like, even just my sound library where I get like drum kits and stuff, that's like 200 gigs now.
And that's off the back of, you know, like, don't have to say how old you are, but like from when you first started.
I'm 19. 19.
I don't even know that, and it just blows my mind. So if you've been starting to make beats when you were, what, 13, 14?
I'd be 16-ish. Yeah.
16-ish? So the last 3 years, the work effort, just in terms of I'm a bit speechless because like it's like writers where I reference like Indy's like stacks of songs that she was writing, and you know, it probably took 3 to get to Reborn, maybe, or to get to the point, and it's like you've gone through all this process of you finding your sound or sounds, because it's so diverse as a producer, to get to this point. It just shows that, you know, it does, time is a precious commodity in that respect, but it's making the best use of your time. So
for sure,
and take into account the journey that you have gone on, bro. It's all led up to being able to do what you're doing now. And to focus wholeheartedly on this, and that's just,
I mean, like, amazing. My mindset behind it was, you know, music helped me get through a lot of mental issues. So music had, in effect, given me so much that I just felt like I had to give back. So, like, this is my way of giving back, because all those artists ever really wanted when they were coming up was exposure. So by doing this, I can get artists the exposure they need to grow and share their stories with the world.
Totally. It's kind of like, I think that's where I kind of wanted to talk to you, because from your output, well, we hadn't had a conversation until a bit ago, and it led to this. You can kind of see from your output your purpose without actually saying it. And that's quite powerful, because you know, from brands across the world are constantly trying to deliver their purpose to the masses, but what they're delivering doesn't actually marry up to it. Like, you think about like a cigarette company, at the end of the day, it's a cigarette that's going to kill you. You can cover it up in a nice packaging and nice design, but fundamentally you're not going to try and change people's idea to what you stand for. And it's good that you sit on that side of just, you've given probably so many bloody gems today, man.
Thank you.
And it's dope, but it's interesting, and of course it's a tough time, the tough start of the journey to get to music, but who do you think is one of the artists who got you through? If you were to say, like, if I'm doing a lot of this to get back to music, if you could turn around and say, hey, you were the one who made me want to get back to music, who is that artist for you?
Oh, damn. It's so ironic, because I'd say the top 2 are Eminem and MGK. And they had the whole beef thing. But nah, so, like, when I was quite young, I got put onto Eminem, and, like, just the raw explicitness of it helped me deal with, like, my social life, because his music taught me that I can be crazy, I can be insane, and people will still love me for who I am. And then listening to MGK was just really therapeutic, because he had a lot of music like back in the day, before the whole beef thing, which was just like super inspiring, and like it was a lot of themes to do with following your passion, and that just like drove me to do more music as well. So,
and those are the artists that like you know, you didn't necessarily like Russ to begin with, but you respected his hustle, and it kind of influenced, and then the emotional pull that those 2 artists have. You know, for myself, it's Kid Cudi. Man. Like, you know, for me, he is, and it's Buzzy, and man, Kid Cudi, you're in New Zealand now, apparently, because you're filming.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you know that, bro, but because we're the haven of creative people from overseas now, because they can actually work over here. And off the back of his last album, Man in the Moon 3, which is bonkers, that album. And of course I'm biased because he's my favourite. But he's over in NZ for the next couple of months.
Damn.
So
give me his contacts now.
Well, yeah, please give us all your contacts, because apparently there's a rumour that he might be doing a couple of shows. I mean, it's very much a rumour. Because he's here on a different purpose. But I mean, when I think about artists that have that sort of pull to people's creativity and they touch people's soul, the artists that you've mentioned, for different reasons, have that impact, because
Yeah.
it's like the Timbos and Pharrells, or Russ and MGK, Eminem, Kid Cudi. It's not necessarily what they say, it's how they say it, or how they portray themselves as a brand,
Yeah.
or as an individual. And they're very much individuals. They're not, I don't feel they're...
Following a trend or something.
Yeah, their music matches who they are.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the best thing. And I find a lot of the New Zealand artists in that, who they are, and their music matches.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not-
like, look at 660, Don't Forget Your Roots. Like, that's such a wholesome New Zealand song.
And it's a quintessential song, and I think it's artists like that is the 660s, it's the Fat Freddies, it's the Shapies,
Yeah.
it's the Cell Dubs, it's the Black Seeds, it's that pocket of New Zealand. I'll be interested to know what you think about this, but is that New Zealand sound to you? Do you find that's a New Zealand sound? Or as a producer, do you find that we are following trends, or what is the New Zealand sound to you? Because it's such an interesting topic.
That's tough. I think that, like, New Zealand music is very united, which is good, because, you know, you got, like, New Zealand Air giving people support and stuff. I love all those bands. In some cases, I feel like they can appear as a bit commercial. You know, they're quite... they're what commercial companies want for music. Like, if you're playing at a workplace, like Air New Zealand, they play all the happy New Zealand music, and you don't really get to have a gaze into, I don't know, some more explicit or raw organic stuff. But that's where the underground scene is really cool, and there's a lot for people to gain from it, because there is a huge underground scene right now. It's crazy.
It is,
yeah.
It is insane. And the underground people have influence. Well, they take influence from those big acts. And it's not to say that you don't want to be that big. I think, I don't know, personally, there's rappers that I know and artists that they want to be known. Be familiar with Griselda. An Alchemist and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
They're known and respected by the community, but they're no way getting spins on the commercial broadcasts and stuff like that. But they're happy with it.
And they've got a really organic fan base too. Like,
it's like a cult fan base in a way.
Yeah, it's not like they'll release a song and everyone will judge the shit out of it and decide whether it's like a popular song or not. It's like every song they release, they've just got the same group of people like, yes, give me more.
Yes.
Yeah.
And would you say that's the underground scene?
Yeah,
there's a lot of support. Do you find there's a lot of support?
I'd say that's what music is. Like, music is all about liking music for what it is rather than following trends.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate that popular music is just defined by what's played on the radio most of the time.
Or on TikTok.
Yeah, or on TikTok. But that's all part of the game. And we just have to learn it and learn how to play our cards right.
And how to kind of break the game in a way. Redefine the game.
Yeah.
When the game is constantly redefining around us with like tech companies and different apps and people's attention spans, and once you find a lane, so how do you diversify each different thing, like you do with every single beat that you make? I'm sure that you don't just, you could make a similar sound, but it's ever so slightly different.
Yeah.
Like,
no beat's the same.
No beat's the same.
Otherwise I get bored of my job.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, man, for many of the people, if you think about a vanilla track, like 9 to 5, the sentiment in that track is pretty much a lot of people wish to be able to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've displayed that you can do what you do.
Yeah.
If you really want to go after something.
Yeah,
do it,
oh man, that mindset's like definitely come from the mentorship from church and AP, because he mentors us every Tuesday night at a session called Navigators out west, and there's like a bunch of creatives there, and like we talk about music topics and then do a write-up at the end, and just like he's just showing us like if you want something you can do it, no questions asked. Like the way he blew up was he just found a manager that would pitch their music to radio and got them on it, and that was Ready or Not, and that blew up like 5 million views.
And the story of Ready for Not, like, I always think back to around that time, and there was a lot of energy around that time of these new acts, whether it's the Swittets, Mellow Downs, YGB, you know, years gone by now, rather than Gifted and Broke, but that is, to me, this new era of golden age hip-hop. If I was to kind of compare to what you said before, the Scribes and the P Money, they still have the influence. Yeah,
and I think it like died out around like the 2010s area. Like the 2000s were real good for New Zealand hip-hop, and then it died out a bit, but I think it's on the come up again with those groups coming out, and
for me it was crazy. It was probably Smash Proofs. The Weekend was the last of that first run. Well, not first run, but that first Scribe, Stop, Drop and Roll. I only reference that because the Hook It Up, Boost Mobile, Hot IR, C4 era. Like thinking about C4 and what used to that culture, and it's how to bring that back again.
Proof of concept, Juice TV's opened again.
And that is exciting for us.
And oh man, it was just a childhood dream come true. Like they found our music video, and we didn't send any emails. They posted Mullet, and we were just in shock. Like that's our childhood dream come true, man.
Just that logo is iconic, just as C4, just as the New Zealand on air logo. It's just insane. That's amazing, eh? So, how important is church's mentorship, and can you explain a little bit more about that? Because I think that is just really important, just for any up and comers to know that they have support, whether you're from Dunedin, Stewart Island, all the way up to Cape Rana, like knowing what that actually means to you and how important it is to spawn your creativity. Like, speak on that, bro.
I mean, like the first thing I want to say is, man, everyone's DMs are open. Like my DMs are open if people ever have any questions. Same with church, same with Mellow Downs, he even told us. And that's what I just remembered. Like you were saying with the new wave coming through, Mellow Downs sort of talked about it as if there's a gatekeeper and they're opening and closing the gate, and the gate's open right now, so like now's the time to go. So
it's floodgates, eh? There's a reason why the Dawn Raid movie came out now. There's a reason why there's a lot more push. Because of,
especially with like LAB coming up in the charts and so many good NZ acts, even Benny, like oh man,
we're the country that can function now.
Exactly.
Like we can go to the festivals.
All the Kiwi acts at the festival, so good.
And from a conversation like this, where a lot of New Zealanders watch YouTube. And we watch, personally I watch the Hot 97s and Breakfast Clubs and all that sort of stuff. They've been coming up to a year doing it on the digital means. Stuff like this shows that, like, you know, whereabouts is that? Like, how are they filming that so close apart? For so long.
Let's hope it stays that way too, eh?
And it's like Bay Dreams when Earth Gang came. Like, that was huge. Because it's insane. And Alice in Wonderland. And that's something that I just want to talk about, of that influence for you. Because I can't remember the track, you have to rejig my memory, but this electronic track of yours that dropped, and you know, don't take this comparison to as offensive or anything, but it just sounded very that Flume Allison vibe, and I just want, man, it really shows like the range.
Oh, Flume's insane.
Would Flume be from an electronic artist in the last 10 years for you? Like,
yeah, oh, definitely. Actually, so at the community center I go to, there's also a bunch of producers, and we just fan out over Flume, because my mate Gab, he's got some crazy electronic beats, and he's been doing it for 5 years now. Wow. He's so good. But yeah, so I release my good music on other artists' pages. But then I like to have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And so I post some experimental stuff on my own page just to have a bit of a laugh. And
I can't remember what was the. I'm trying to remember the one that I was referencing. See if I can find it on my phone.
Three Dolphin Club.
Yeah. And I think,
do you know what that means?
Tell me, bro.
So
tell us.
You've got the Mile High Club, which is having sex in an airplane. The Three Dolphin Club is having sex in outer space. And the reason they call it that, I was watching a documentary looking for samples, and I found this out.
And was that the sample that you used in the beat?
No, that was a different one. That was a BBC sample of like the first ever electronic music made. Yeah. So it's called the Three Dolphin Club because they wanted to know, can you have sex in zero gravity? And the issue is you got to have sex like dolphins do. You got to have one person hold one person in place to be able to do it. Hence the name Three Dolphin Club.
I think Action Bronson was onto something on his last album, Only for Dolphins. I might have to listen to that again just to see if Action's got some tips, because he's that's another one in terms of his Ancient Aliens. Fuck, that's delicious show and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's what we potentially need more of here. Do you agree? Like some more channels or outlets.
Oh, definitely. Like
Mellows, I think it's the Mellows cover one. That's dope.
Yeah, but like
it's an opportunity for that's a bit different, of course. Yeah,
that's like sharing like politicians and stuff. But I think there's definitely a lack of outlets for upcoming musicians in New Zealand, and that's why I've been posting a new musician on my story every day, because I'm just like, I know so many people that need the exposure. So yeah, and bro, and it's just an honor just to be this is the first time we're doing this sort of Kiwi podcast, and you listen to, I didn't really give you a elevator pitch before we hit play, but that kind of purpose statement, and you guys, you look at it on the gram, it's labelled purpose, it's pretty easy to find, but it's kind of a way to kind of have this, and maybe start someone else doing something similar. You know, I like talking to people, and I think for yourself, like, you're a very humble young man, and it's amazing just to be able to like talk to someone like you, age of 30. I learn so much, and I know so many other people, whether they're chefs or they're in just general hospo, whether they're streetwear designers, designers in general. Anyone is going to take some gems from what you've said, because it's relatable. And it's just amazing that you can, I think your purpose, if you wrote it down in a word, is us. I don't know if you agree. I 100% agree.
If you just had an us t-shirt, like that, it's just what you represent, man. Like, and that's just amazing.
I might have to steal that, eh?
It's yours, bro. That's what it's all about. But like, honestly, man, like, I get tingles talking about a lot of this stuff, because it's amazing to see people on this wave. And like, I don't knock the SoundCloud rap era. However, I think people have looked at that and realised how to do it better, and realised the non-sustainable parts of that era. I think that era just really showed you can do it, and it doesn't have to sound good. Like, it doesn't have to have good production. It can be low fidelity, and people will still enjoy it for what it is. It's all about the message and the feeling of music rather than the quality of it.
And I actually reached out to a producer I watched at Bay Dreams. His name's K-Lab, and like, oh man, he's so underrated. But I just messaged him and I was like, you got any advice? And his advice was, make what sounds good for the concept. Don't worry about the mixing. That can come after. Because if you've got a cool idea, like, you can work on it again later.
Yeah, and you were saying that in terms of Christabel, when she had that studio and that producer that wasn't yourself, like, yeah, the output was...
It sounded professional.
It sounded good, but she wasn't happy with it because she wasn't able to connect but not connect at the same time. Like, I'm sure expression comes from just releasing and you're not really holding on to those thoughts, you're letting go.
And if you can't connect with your own music, then how is anyone else going to connect with it?
Exactly, man. I mean, it's just dope. Bro, I'm looking down at the clock. It's 51 minutes. I would like to just say again, man, a huge thank you. And just keep it up, King. Like, this is just dope.
Thank you.
I'm stoked to be able to just do... I've been, like yourself, like I've been kind of in my own little bubble.
It's quite natural for creatives to do that.
Yeah.
But then, like, as soon as you start to reach out, everything just starts to flourish, eh?
Yeah, and, like, you know, it's just amazing that the us message. And I would love to see you incorporate something like that, whether it's a producer album that is us and you've got all your slew of 200 peeps.
I've had a lot of ideas of that, yeah.
But I don't know, I'm just freestyling. But for me...
I can add to that. So I went to a recording weekend at a session guitarist's house. His name's Andrew. And we had about 10 plus artists come through. And 2 days, we made a full EP. So that will be dropping soon.
Man.
And
that's awesome, bro.
It's not about the sound quality once again. It's about like the concept of we did this in a weekend and we've got 7 tracks ready to go.
That's
so
dope.
And it was all made there on the spot. So
it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean that's just for a lot of other people, it's like if you want to do something, yeah, it does come with a lot of grind to get yourself up to the space.
Yeah.
For me personally, like this Assorted, like I wrote this 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And you can get into a lot of paralysis in terms of thinking and overthinking and being...
Yeah.
But it's worth it for me personally because it allows you to refine... You're kind of doing A/B testing in your head constantly.
Yeah.
And then when you start opening it up, this year has kind of been... last year was the way to kind of start opening it up to people and talking and doing this. And again, this is just a platform. And if anyone else is watching this, and if you know anyone, bro, who just wants to have a hui, this is make sure it's Assorted Kiwi. It's a free platform. It's not sponsored by anyone. There's no limits. It's just a way to
as raw as it comes.
Raw as it comes. It's an opportunity for you to tell some stories, and I appreciate that opened up a little bit more about the driving force that got you to that, because I think that's very important, especially now. Especially off the back of lockdown, where a lot of people are retreating within themselves and realising that there is opportunities if you're a creative, or you can join a group like you do with Church and Mellow, where you can actually, you're not alone. There's
and man,
like-minded people, we're
so lucky to have that now. Like, you can go on social media and just DM a random person, and who knows, they could be an absolute legend, and you might start working with them.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I am going to ask a request for the last 6 minutes, bro. Pick a song.
Ooh.
And it can be one of your songs, it can be just a song that you want to end off with, bro. Like,
ooh. I don't want to let this go to waste.
yeah, it can be, and man, we've got 6 minutes left. It could be 2, but if it's 1, dope. And then we'll ride out to the song to end up with, and then Chichinga,
Ooh, let's go Scribe Dreaming.
Oh, That's dope. Bear with me, team. Okay, well, again, this is a Assorted Kiwi podcast. Chequered Patterns, Assorted Hamish, aka Assorted Kiwi. I'm so stoked to meet another Assorted Kiwi, bro.
Yo,
Thank you so much.
Cheers,
and,
bro.
I'm looking forward to seeing you build and everyone else. So, Scribe Dreaming, hit it.
Sup team, if you're listening to this message, that means that we've come to the end to the story from another legendary Assorted Kiwi. I just want to give you all a massive thank you for choosing to make this show part of your day. Hopefully, if you're hearing this message, it is a sign that it was a good hui and you really love what we talked about. If you know anyone who you think fits the mould of an Assorted Kiwi, hit us up at assorted_Kiwi on IG. We would love to hear from you and learn more stories just like today's one. Have a great rest of your day. Much love, the Assorted Kiwi. Cheers.